everybody, happy spooky and welcome back. I have no reason to postpone any of this, so I'm just gonna dive right into this shit. Today I'm talking about Ready or Not. It's honestly so good. We'll get there. So it came out last year. It is rated R, so beware. The reason it's rated R is mostly because of the gore and like violence, so beware. IMDb says a bride's wedding night takes a sinister turn when her eccentric new in-laws force her to take part in a terrifying game. That game is, you guessed it, hide and seek. So basically this family is like the creepy version of Hasbro, where they just like invent games and are super rich because of it, but they're like insane. So when it opens, it says that it's 1989, which is what, 30 years before present day? So 30 years ago, there are these two children running around the halls, and the older brother stuffs the younger brother into a closet, and then this guy runs up on them with little arrows sticking out of his abdomen like he's being hunted down by Katniss Everdeen, and he's pleading with his child for help, and the kid calls in his family members who encircle this victim while wearing like Purge-esque masks and like shoot him again. And then a girl runs up in her wedding dress sobbing because they're killing her new husband, and then they just like take this guy and stuff him into a room. And then it fast forwards to present day 30 years later, and I mean, like, if you see the trailer, I ideally would hope that if you're going into watching this that you would have seen the trailer and like know mostly what this is about, because if not, then you're genuinely going to be taken for a freaking ride. But yeah, so basically they play hide and seek whenever somebody joins the family. No, that's a lie. They play a game whenever somebody joins the family. If that game happens to be hide and seek, and like we'll talk about how they choose, then the bride or groom, the new person, has to be killed. So 30 years later, it's present day, and Alex and Grace are getting married. Alex is the younger brother that was like stuffed into the closet 30 years ago, and Grace is the love of his life, played by, I'm going to pronounce it, Samara Weaving. And she's like super chill. She's hanging out in her wedding dress. She looks like a freaking A+. She's smoking just to de-stress. And Alex shows up and they're like in love. And he's like, listen, you don't have to marry me. Like, my family kind of sucks. Like, if you want to leave, then like you've got to go right now. And she goes, no, we're good. Like, let's just go get married and shit. So they do. They go down, they get married, and his family already is like a hard no on her, which like sucks. I mean, obviously I don't really know anything about her, but his family already seems like fucking crazy. So they go through the day, she gets married, they're back in the house, and they're like trying to get it on 5 minutes later, and then out of a freaking secret pantry, his aunt pops out into his bedroom while they're like trying to make kids and informs Alex that the whole family is waiting for him. And this girl looks, not girl because she's old, I guess, okay, she was the bride in the very beginning of this. So her husband, well, ex-husband, was the last person to be killed for this like family tradition. So I guess at that point she would have been like 20, so now maybe she's like 50. I don't know. She has bright white sticky hair and straight across drawn on black eyebrows, and the way that she like sits and looks at people, she just looks like a gargoyle. She's very unsettling. So she informs them that the family is waiting for them to come downstairs. So Alex is like, oh, so you know what? Actually, when somebody enters the family, we have to play a game. And she's like, are you being serious? And he's like, yeah, like we make games, so we have to play a game. And this is like your initiation. And it starts at midnight, and that's it. And then after that, we're like good to go. And then we can move far away from here and never come back. So she's like, all right, whatever. And they go join the rest of the family in their game room, which they have because they invent board games. And the whole room is just a shrine to their success and weapons. So it's just like board games and paintings of their ancestors surrounded by also weapons like guns and machetes and all of it. Like, take your pick. So she's like chit-chatting with his mom, played by Andie MacDowell, and mentions that, you know, she like grew up in and out of foster care, and so now she's glad to actually have a family, which is pretty upsetting because you'll find out. So that's where we are. Everybody sits at this table that we later find out is a literal pentagram, but does not raise any concerns at the moment. So they're sitting at their satanic sacrifice table, and the dad is, I have no idea what the dad's name is. I don't know, the dad. So dad is giving everybody a rundown of like what we're gonna do. So basically, back in forever ago, when the head of their family, Victor, was inventing their dynasty at the time of like playing cards, he was friends with this guy named, I think his first name was Peter, and his last name is LaBelle. So LaBelle was like, hey, you know what? I will actually just give you all the money for the rest of your life if every once in a while you just like give me a human sacrifice. And no, like, don't worry about it. I'll make the choice. Whoever I want you to kill for me, I'll just let you know, and then you have to do that. But then I'll just like still give you money forever. But if you don't kill them by sunrise, then your whole family is doomed, in quotation marks, because doomed technically does not have like a definition right now. We just know something bad will happen. So 2 of the siblings have already married and been through this before. So the other in-laws, this guy named Fitch, who is so fascinating, he's married to the sister Emily, who's like a straight up cokehead. And when he had to do this, he pulled Old Maid. And then Daniel is the older brother, played by Adam Brody, who, like, chef's kiss, looks amazing in this movie. When she did this, she got chess. So they literally just played chess. And that was it, which sounds so fucking boring. But there's this box, and you put in a blank card, and then the gears wind it up, and then Peter LaBelle shoots out whatever game he wants the family to play. So they give the box to Grace because she's the one that has to like pick it or have it be picked for her. So she's like, all right, whatever. She takes a box. She pulls the card out, and it's hide and seek. So she's like, are we seriously gonna play hide and seek? And Alex, her new husband, is like, oh, fuck. You know, like, God, I finally picked one. And here we are. Like, what are the odds that it has to be mine? So he's super upset. And she doesn't understand why. She thinks she's just gonna, like, sit behind a table for like 20 minutes. They'll find her and then they'll go about their lives. So Dad lets her know, like, all right, just go hide and then we'll try to find you. And she's like, well, how do I win? Or like, I guess there's no way for me to win. And he's like, unless you stay hidden until dawn. Because if she stays hidden until dawn, then the deal's up and the whole family's gone. So then she would win. Yeah, but then she's like, yeah, because I care so fucking much about winning hide and seek on my wedding night, sure. So she runs away. She sits in a dumbwaiter for like 5 minutes before she gets totally over it. And I can't blame her. Because in all honesty, that is like a pretty good hiding spot. And so she's going to sit there for how many hours? For what we think is no reason. So simultaneously, the family is downstairs loading up and prepping for war. The dad is like divvying out weapons with no regard to the mental capacity of the people he's handing them to. So Fitch is, I don't know how to describe him. He's so incompetent. He just looks like an idiot. He looks like my brother when he was in middle school, but just older. Like, he's just physically a child. And Dad hands him a crossbow, which, like, if you've even seen the movie Hush, who knows how to use a crossbow? Not this dumbass. And he's like, am I supposed to know how to use this? Like, what am I supposed to do with it? Hit her with it? And then, of course, frickin' Meemaw, Auntie Helene, the psycho gargoyle, gets, I think, like, an axe. I don't know what this weapon is actually considered, but I guess I'll look it up because why not? Maybe it's just like it's like a medieval type axe. So it's like axe throwing, but older because she's old. So she gets an axe and she's ready to take off anybody's fucking body part at this point. And they're playing I guess like the record player is like hooked up to a loudspeaker that plays this song all over the entire house. It's playing the hide and seek song, which is basically like hide or like run, it's not time to run and hide. It's actually like kind of catchy, I'm not gonna lie to you. And then after it's over, it's time to go. And everybody's on the hunt. Their sister Emily, to get herself ready, is, you guessed it, doing drugs. She's snorting up some coke, like, listen, bitch, we're not going to be the embarrassment of the family tonight, so get your shit together and let's go kill this girl. And we're just sitting here watching Grace sit in her dumbwaiter with no interest in this whatsoever. So she is like going stir crazy after a couple of minutes and is like, dude, fuck this. I'm just going to go out there and get this over with. Like, they'll find me, haha, we'll laugh, and then that'll be done. So she gets out and she's like jogging down the hall and she is approached from behind and someone covers her mouth and drags her into a bedroom, which is concerning. But we see it's Alex, her husband. And she's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, can you act cool for a second? And they hear somebody coming. He's trying to say, like, listen, we gotta go, but somebody's coming. So they go and hide behind the bed until coast is clear. And there's like 3 maids or like housekeepers. I don't know exactly what their title is. There's 3 of them. They all look like they are straight off the boat that this rich ass family decided to like buy offline. So there are 2 smaller children that are the Cokehead sisters' kids, and they're supposed to be laying in bed like good kids after midnight that are not supposed to be witnessing murder. But one of them, like a freaking serial killer in training, is like, y'all are gonna put me on the bench when a murder's to be had? Like, no. So he gets up and is running amok around the house because, God forbid, he misses destiny. Because also, who knows when hide and seek is going to get pulled again. So he has to make use of this opportunity. So the babysitter is running around the house trying to find him. And when she comes into this bedroom, she's trying to find this kid. She's like, Georgie, come out to play. And the sister comes in and shoots this girl in the head. Grace is very confused. So when she looks off to the side to see what's happening, she sees that half of this girl's face is just gone because it's been shot off. And Emily, the sister, is very upset at her choice right now because it was an accident. And then some of the other family members like jog on in and they're like, are you serious? Is she wearing a white fucking dress? Like, you're an idiot. So now Grace is internally combusting because they just admitted that the person that was supposed to be killed is the bride. But they also say, like, don't aim for the head because we need her alive for the ceremony. So there is a genuine ceremonial sacrifice that this girl has to go through before they can just kill her. Because they do have to sacrifice her to LaBelle. So this family is super inconvenienced by the wrong dead body and have to flip a coin to decide who's going to grab what part of her to dispose of. So they drag her out. Grace is sobbing and Alex is trying his freaking darndest to explain what's happening. But in reality, how does one explain this? So she's stunned. She's in shock for obvious reasons. And he's like, hey, listen, girl, sharpen up. Like, we have got to get going. Grab your shoes. We're going to go hide in these wall tunnels because they go throughout the entire house, but apparently nobody else in the house decided to make use of. So we're going to go through there and hopefully get you the hell out of here. It is important to note that there are cameras and everything throughout the house, but a part of this tradition is that they always play it like their grandpa would have. So like before technology. So they don't use any of those. But also a part of that is they have like the security system that automatically locks all the doors and windows. So right now cameras are turned off and also all of the doors and windows are locked. So she can't get out of the house. So Alex and Grace disappear into the walls and she's freaking out and he just wants her to move physically. He's like, listen, I will explain all of this to you after we leave the goddamn house. And she's like, can you please fucking explain because your family's trying to murder me, your bride. So they stop at a point because she needs to put her shoes on and he is explaining in not great detail what's happening. So basically, like, I'm telling her, you know, the basics, like, hey, they think if they don't kill you that our whole family's gonna die. So that's that. He's like, literally, hide and seek is the only bad card. You picked the only bad card. And she's like, why the fuck did you even bring me here? And he says, well, you're the one that wanted to get married. The audacity of some white men. She's like, are you actually trying to say that this is my fault in any way? So he realizes his error at that point and it's like, dude, sorry, like, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Like, I'm gonna go try and unlock all the doors and you're gonna run down there and leave through the kitchen door that I'm gonna unlock. So she's like, all right, I guess. I don't think that I actually have any other choice, but I also like am questioning my choice to have married you in the first place. So at this point, she's wearing her high top Converse. She rips off like the bottom foot of her dress because it really is just slowing her down at this point. And she gets down to the end of this tunnel, and there are 2 doors, and he didn't explain to her which one specifically she's supposed to go through. So she picks the wrong one, and when she walks through the door, she ends up in a hallway where 2 feet away, the mom, dad, and older brother are all trying to dispose of this maid's body, and they all just like kind of stare at each other for a second by accident, and then she runs away. So obviously now she knows what's happening, and then the family realizes that she knows what's happening. So it's not good because now she's actively resisting murder, whereas before she was just, trying to hide for fun, and then if they found her, oh, whatever. But now she's going to be putting some more effort into running away. And this whole movie itself is also like very humorous. I'm trying to think. It's very like Knives Out-y, where it is more gory, I'll say. But there's like intrigue, there's mystery. It's not scary as much as it is just like fucked up. So, but it's really funny. And the reason I probably like it so much is the fact that the characters are very realistic, where it's hard to explain. Like the girl who shot the maid by accident was like, guys, I can't do anything right. Like everybody is just like so relatable, and I don't know, I enjoy it, whatever. So they all make awkward eye contact like 2 separate family of deer that ran into each other by accident. So she runs away and ends up in the study with like a pool table and whatnot. She's trying to hide. She's trying to get out. All the doors and shit are still locked. She's about to try and throw a chair through the window, but at the same time, she hears somebody approaching. So she goes to try and hide as far away from the door that she came through, only to have her body inches away from another door. So through that door enters Daniel, who's the older brother. He is kind of like the mistake of the family, and a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that he was older when the last time somebody had to be murdered. So he kind of like knew more, and maybe that like probably fucked him up mentally. And also he couldn't tell anybody about it. So it's not like he could go to therapy and say like, oh, I just watched my family sacrifice someone, so I'm a little sad about it. But he seems to be the one that like the family's not super proud of, even though his sister's literally popping pills every other murder. But he walks in and she is hardcore panting because she's like running, she's out of breath, she's stressed, she can't breathe. And he could not give a shit less. He saunters in with his gun just strung about. He's about to go have like a drink of alcohol, and she's just staring at him like, are you not going to kill me? I don't know what's happening. But we also know that he kind of has a crush on her. So she's like, come on, you don't want to hurt me. And he's like, but I have to, I'm sorry. So he's like, I'll give you a head start because I do like you. And she's like, come on, please don't. And she realizes he's serious. So she starts running away. And true to action, he sits down, he drinks his scotch, and he starts counting down. So after she runs away, he finishes counting and he screams that she's currently in the study. His family rolls in and he is just sitting there comfy as heck, and they're like, hey, remember how you said she was in here? Where'd she go? And he's like, oh, she got away, sorry. So then the whole family is reconvening in the study, and our guy Fitch still has no idea what the hell to do with a crossbow, like we all expected, you know? And so he's like, here, wife, you try. She's like, oh, I'll figure it out. She grabs the crossbow, and simultaneously one of the other maids walks in. And he's like, oh my God, I just saw her. And as she's about to tell him where Grace went, Emily accidentally shoots her with the crossbow. So, like, she can't catch a break. She's like, seriously? If I have to kill all these people, like, why do they end up always being the wrong ones? So now somebody else has to dispose of a body, and Emily's just so distraught with herself because she can't seem to kill the right person. So after that, people suggest that they turn the cameras back on. And the dad's against it for a little while. The aunt is super against it because girlfriend frickin' etched their family's tradition in stone and will not deviate. So she's super pissed at the mention of turning on a camera. And then Grace stumbles upon the game room where I'm assuming she remembered, because she had been in there earlier in the night, she remembered that there were weapons all over the damn place. So she goes in there, she grabs a whole rifle and a string of ammo that she hoists across herself like a sash. And girlfriend is ready to kill some people. So she's strapped up and ready to go. And she's in the kitchen waiting for the doors to be unlocked. They show Alex finally getting into the control room. He turns on the cameras and disables all the locks on the doors and windows. Meanwhile, Grace is still hiding in the kitchen because their butler shows up. And he's just dancing around the place trying to brew up some tea because I guess the family's super stressed that something in their lives is not going the way it's supposed to. And she's like slithering around the kitchen island to just so stay out of his eyesight, and also at the same time trying to load her rifle. And she's like rhythmically planning the stuff with when he makes noises to try and hide it, like how when people are like breaking shit and they wait until like the thunderclap so that it can be disguised. So she's trying to do that. He obviously hears her, but not until after the gun is loaded. So she pulls it up on him. The door's unlocked, so all she has to do is get past him. But when she tries to shoot him, nothing happens. And he goes, joke's on you, because the ammo is display only. So, sucks to suck. She just starts like hitting him over the head with stuff, and he's trying to fight back. And I'm like, dude, this is not even your legacy. Like, does it really matter if this girl dies? I mean, I guess maybe because he'd be out of a job, but still. So she takes a boiling teapot and smashes it over his face. So with the butler down for the count, she escapes through the kitchen door. Meanwhile, the dad and the older brother can see that the cameras were turned on because there's like the little red light. So they're like, ugh, Alex is in the control room. So they go over there to try and stop him. Like, hey, I know it sucks that we have to kill your wife, but I mean, we still have to kill your wife. So they go in there, they're trying to fight him, and he's trying to fight back. And then he like disables his father. Dad's down on the floor, and the brothers are trying to connect, like, hey dude, please like help me save my wife. And Daniel's like, yeah, sure, I'll definitely help you save your wife. And then from behind Alex, Dad gets up and hits him over the head with something. I don't know. He's knocked out and falls asleep. So then they take his body and bring him into a bedroom and handcuff him to the footboard of a bed. And the family's like talking about him. And so they make a lot of references to the fact that he has been distant from the family for a while. And so I guess they thought that this was their chance to reel him back in But then Peter LaBelle was like, just kidding, because I'm gonna have your girl murdered because I actually don't care if you're a part of this family. But they still, like, he's still the favorite. So they're like hoping that they'll all get through this. So the whole family is talking crap. The aunt is in there talking to dad, saying like, I know that Alex has always been an issue, but I promise after all this, he'll come back. She's like, it was my husband that was ready or noted last time. And if I could, I'd go back and kill him myself because this family means so much to her. Whatever. And she's like, I have faith that Alex will get on board as well. Grace is on like the roof of the house and can overhear them like through the windows talking smack on him and her. I mean, not necessarily talking smack, but I don't know. Anyway, she hears them talking about her. So I guess like the first scene, hold on. Okay, so I guess she didn't end up leaving through the kitchen. I just don't remember why though. But it said that she was like on the roof outside while she was while she was eavesdropping on the family talking about Alex. But I don't know. So she's in the house technically. And she's running around the halls and she runs into the third and final maid who is hiding in the dumbwaiter. So Grace is like, bitch, get the fuck out. Like, that's my hiding spot. They're not trying to kill you. They're trying to kill me. So the maid is like, oh my God, you're right. And then she starts screaming to the family like, Grace is right here. Come kill her, because then she won't be like scared or sad anymore. Because all the other maids are accidentally getting picked off one by one. So she's like, the sooner that they kill you, the sooner I get to be happy again. So she starts screaming for the family. Grace is trying to fight her, and she accidentally clicks the button of the dumbwaiter, and the doors start closing with the maid's body half in, half out, and she also dies. And I will say, I saw this movie when it first came out, and I just watched it again yesterday. I completely forgot how gory it is. It's not like unacceptable, I guess. It doesn't affect me that much. I'll be honest. I don't mind. But if that's something you're sensitive to, then that's really, like, that's up to your discretion. So the maids are done for, which means like they basically don't have anybody else to kill except Grace. So she finally gets out of the house, I guess. She's running through the yard and she goes out to the old barn because these rich people have animals as well. There's goats in there. I don't know. They make a reference at some point in the movie that they like sacrifice goats too, or is it just for like farm shit where they do like milk? I don't know. But there's goats in there. So she's hiding and somebody starts walking in and they're like waving a flashlight all over. And she finds out it's Georgie, the small child who is supposed to be in bed. So she sees an innocent child and is like, oh my God, thank the Lord you're here to save me. Like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but people are trying to kill me. Like, you have to help me. While she is pleading with this child for her life, he whips out his own gun and shoots her and blasts a hole through her hand. And she's like, are you fucking kidding? So she punches him, which, like, of all the things that children do to piss us off, like, seriously? So she punches him. he's on the floor. She loses her balance and falls backwards into like a storm door type situation, but it's wood. And when she gets to the bottom of this pit, there are decomposed ancestors, I'll say. So she's freaking out for obvious reasons because she is laying in a pit of sacrifices, which is her future. Like, this is what she thinks her fate is. So she's freaking out, and I have to give up every single prop I own to this actress because the way that she portrays all of these horrific things is like A+. I have no criticism. None. And like it makes it that much worse too, because if I physically feel everything that has happened to her, but I mean that's kind of the point. So she's trying to climb up, the ladder breaks, something very gross happens that I am not going to mention. You can watch it yourself if you want to. She gets herself out of the pit screaming, and I feel so bad because, like, I mean, she's screaming. Like, what else can she do? But also, you don't want her to get found out. She's obliterating her own wedding dress. She rips off her sleeve to try and make like a little bandage for her hand because there's just blood everywhere. And she's trying to like recollect herself. And she runs out of the barn and she gets herself like to the main road. There is a like broken bar on this metal fence, so she rips it off to try and make like enough room for her to like slip herself out, and she makes it, but just barely. She gets some more scars from that. And when she gets out onto the main road, she flags down a car who basically curses her off and drives away. And she and I are both stunned. Like, are you fucking kidding? She is covered in blood and probably like dirt and stuff from being inside that pit. Her hair is a mess. She does not look okay. And she just threw herself through an opening in a fence. So she's like, you have to be fucking joking. So like her lifeboat just sped away into the darkness. She's freaking out. The family inside knows that she's outside. So they send the stupid butler out in his little car, his surveillance car, with like a little flashlight that comes up by the side view mirror. And he spots her. So they get into some fisticuffs and she overpowers him and takes the car. She tries to use the car's like onboard like safety system or whatever and tries to explain the situation like, hey, people are trying to murder me, can you please send help? And the guy on the other line goes, actually, this car was reported stolen, so I have to stop you. He remotely shuts off the engine, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding? I understand that your job is to take care of this car and the owner, but what if the owners are fucking murderers? Can we prioritize? Like, she asked for the cops. She's obviously not concerned about getting in trouble for this stolen car. Send the cops to her. So the butler runs back up and shoots her with a tranq dart, so she falls asleep and he throws her in the back seat. But he does put her seatbelt on her, which I thought was very caring. And at the same time, they do need her alive, so that makes sense. But it was just, he went the extra step, which was kind of nice. He starts FaceTiming the family back at the house to say, hey, I got our girl, like, we're on our way back. I guess he can turn the car on because he calls Justin back and is like, JK, we've got it. Like, we're good to go. The butler thinks that this is already a win. So he is partying and dancing, and he's still on FaceTime with his family. And so they see her in the back seat waking up on the camera. And they're trying to warn him, like, hey, guy, you got a live one back there. But he is party hardying right now and cannot be tamed. So she wakes up fully. She, like, knocks him out, and the car flips a bunch of times and crashes. The butler's dead. She undoes her seatbelt because she was safe and secure in the car, undoes her seatbelt, and gets out to try and make another run for it because, like, what else can she do at this point besides give up? So as she gets out, Daniel, the older brother, is already there waiting for her. So he takes her and they bring her back to the house. So they have her tied up to the pentagram table, and everybody is passing around their chalice of alcohol like it's freaking Sunday morning praising Jesus. And every single person takes a drink, but then as the dad is performing his ritual and is about to kill her, he starts vomiting blood. And then everybody else around the table starts vomiting blood, except Daniel, the older brother. So he unties her like, hey, I actually just poisoned them real quick because I, like, kind of still like you, so I'm super cool if you get out of here. So he unties her and he's trying to like, help her escape. And as they're trying to run away, Daniel's own wife, who is only by law a part of this family, catches them. And Daniel's standing in the way like, listen, I'm done. We're done. And she's not done. So then she shoots her husband in the throat. So Daniel is laying on the floor trying to catch a damn break, and he tells Grace, like, you have to go. So then she tries to run away. Daniel's laying there losing his life. Grace is like, fuck all of you, and decides to go attack the wife who just shot Daniel, and, like, takes her gun and, like, attacks her. A lot of things happen at once, the dad's coming after her. She hits him with, like, a lamp, and then when she tosses it to the side, the house starts catching on fire. And then while the house is on fire, the mom, played by Andie MacDowell, starts attacking Grace. And Grace has had too much. She's had all of it. She's had enough. She's done completely. She takes this damn wooden box and kills the mom quite gruesomely. Meanwhile, Alex, who is handcuffed to a bed upstairs, gets himself free by, like, fake sawing with the handcuff chains against the wood. So he runs downstairs because he's trying to save his wife, and he instead finds Daniel's decaying body in the entryway. So now he's super upset because Daniel's the one who, like, tried to protect him from all of this. Like, that was his only person in the family. So now he's super upset. And then he goes into, like, the main dining room and sees that his mother has also passed. So he's losing his shit. He is sobbing and he's staring at Grace, who is not really interested in him anymore. And he's like, oh, my mom's gone. My best friend and older brother is gone. And after all of this, if we both end up alive somehow, you're not going to want to be with me. So he summons the rest of his family to let them know that he's got her and is ready to sacrifice. I roll. So they try to make do. They strap her up to the dining room table, and now Alex is the one performing the frickin' ceremony. And as soon as he is about to throw his dagger into her and kill her, she like throws herself to the one side and he just ends up like stabbing her shoulder. So I'm not going to say she comes out unscathed because that train passed long ago. But girlfriend's still fighting. So she gets herself free and she takes the dagger out of her own body parts and is using it as a weapon. And the family start like going towards her and she's like grunting as if all of this has reverted her back centuries. And I mean, realistically, at this point, she just has no idea what life is anymore, because what is it? Who finds themselves in this kind of situation? So she's freaking out. She doesn't know what the fuck life is. She doesn't know who she is or what anything else is. So she's threatening all of them with their lives. And at this point, it's sunrise. So they open the curtains and all of the family members are like hissing and moaning at the sunlight like they're a couple of freaking witches or vampires. And they like curl up and huddle down to try and hide from it, and nothing happens. So they're all just standing there like a couple of idiots presented with their life choices because they spent the entire night trying to murder this girl and then nothing even happened to them. So the aunt is like, fuck it, maybe we still have some time. She hoists her axe and is ready to throw it on Grace, and her entire body explodes. The aunt is no more. Her body parts are everywhere, and every single person in the room is shook. Nobody knows what's happening. And then one by one, every single other family member explodes. Like, oh my god, if you have seen, this might be a spoiler alert, but if you have seen The Kingsman, if you have not seen The Kingsman, then fast forward. But at the end of the first one, when they explode like the little things, the little chips in the people's heads, and all their heads just like combust and they make it like kind of pretty like a rainbow. Well, that's basically what happens to all of these people head to toe, except it's blood and not confetti. It is super graphic. So Grace and Alex are the last two standing. And he's just like staring at her like, oh my god, remember when I was going to kill you that one time? Well, I actually changed my mind. And now that I'm not exploding, like, maybe this is my second chance. You know, like, he is giving me a do-over. So let's do this thing. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? She's about to slash him up like Freddy Krueger when he explodes. So she is just standing there shook. And then the fire slowly starts creeping into all like the rooms of the house. And in the like smoke, Peter LaBelle is seen, in essence, sitting in his chair at the head of the table, and he nods at Grace as a sign of respect. And she's like, what the fuck? So she is legitimately head to toe soaked in blood and guts and dirt. And as she walks out, the entire house behind her is burning to the ground. And she's just red entirely. And so her and the mom kind of bonded in the beginning before they wanted to murder her about smoking, because Grace low-key smokes but didn't want to admit it, but the mom high-key smokes, and she stole the mom's cigarette case because she thought it was really cute. She's like, wow, that's a nice case. And then she's like, well, you're dead and I killed you, so I'm gonna take it. She takes out her new fancy cigarette case, lights up a cig, and is just sitting there trying to get through life. And we hear in the background first responders like, oh my god, the house is on fire and we have a victim out here and like we need medical. And one of the police officers asks her what happened, and she says, in-laws. What a mood. I don't have in-laws, but I've heard terrible stories. Like, that's so relatable. But also at the same time, who else has in-laws that tried to murder them ceremoniously? I promise you there's somebody else out there that can relate to this whose in-laws did try to ceremoniously murder them. I hope that it's not the majority, but there's something for everyone, you know? And then that's it. And then the credits roll like freaking hardcore Zombieland badass. And she is like, she's got to be fucked in the head after that. She saw a lot and she had to deal with a lot, but she made it out okay, kind of. Yeah, like I said, it's not a typical like Halloween scary spooky type movie, but it's gory. And I know like the Rob Zombie shit is like super big right now because Rob Zombie is like into horror and everything. So it's like that-esque, but more kind of like fun. And like my favorite genre of anything is the super like fucked up stuff where you have to sit there and think like, who in the world invented this or thought about this? Like, who decided that this creepy LaBelle spirit was requesting sacrifices from beyond the grave, so this dumbass eccentric family that's super rich but also idiots have to kill this girl? Who decides that? But I'm so happy that they did because it's fascinating. So I love it. I give it 10 out of 10. It's very entertaining, and I like that it's kind of like, because the concept, like I kind of mentioned, is pretty outlandish, but the characters are all real life kind of people. Like I said, the sister Emily is a crackhead. The brother Daniel is like the fuck up brother that no one in the family really likes but is always there. The aunt is a crazy old lady that nobody in the family likes but is also there. And Alex is the one who hates his family and is trying so hard to get away from them. And Grace thinks that everybody's fucking insane because they are. And so it's funny to see how real life kinds of people could potentially enter and deal with the situation. But those are my 2 cents on that. I never like introduced myself or what this is. It is by accident, but I also just like feel stupid saying it. Like, hi, I'm Kayla and these are the Readhead Reels. So, but that's the truth. That's me and that's what this is. So, I guess like tell other people that I'm here if you want, and because I mean, honestly, I'm gonna end up doing this anyway, so like tell people and like follow me or not. I mean, you can make whatever choice you want in this life. But that's all I have for you for today. I will see y'all next time, probably. Okay, bye.